Okay, I have been wanting to do a full tour recap. I just finished touring through Canada. Not just, it's been like a month and a half now. Which in the grand scheme of life is like just, But I wanted to do a recap. I was gonna do this in Canada, but I feel like I went on tour and then have just been like trying to feel human again and process what happened, and then also, yeah. So I'm gonna start at the beginning. This is just gonna be like long rambling. Also I drank so much coffee this morning, which has been like, but it's like the good. But my favorite mixture has been, I take like a little bit of instant coffee, the UK instant coffee, and then put like hot water in it. So it's like this big cortado size, yeah? And then some oat milk, and then a bunch of coconut water, and then ice. Golden State was so smooth. Okay, so it is July 10th, 2025. I think it's a full moon. And this year, oh my God, I have so much to talk about. I feel like I need to say, this is gonna be a story of a movie of my life. Okay. In December of last year, I was like, nothing's gonna change if nothing's gonna change, right? Like I need to start, I feel like stuck in my career, and I feel like I keep, creating music, releasing music. Yeah, things are like improving, but like, I feel like big things happen and then it goes back to this baseline, and this baseline is like not where I wanna be. And I feel like I've been there since I've released music in 2018. As a human being, I feel so much growth and shifts. I saw a friend in Nashville this year who told me, I haven't seen her for 3 years. She's one of my, I've known her since college, close friend. And she was like, you know what? Like, you've changed a lot since I've seen you last. You seem like way more peaceful and grounded. You just have this like essence of peace about you. And I was actually like, wow, out of all the compliments I could receive, or not even compliments, all the, you see somebody and they're like, you look so good, you look so healthy, you look so vibrant. But like, I was like, oh, that's actually such a nice thing to say. Like that actually means so much to me. And like, I forget to measure life and measure achievements based on that. So anyways, December of last year, I was like, things need to change. I am gonna be running London Marathon. I really wanted to like really focus on speed, and was also gonna help run this marathon training program in London with Red and Crew. I knew that was gonna take a lot of time and energy, but I also was like, I need to just plan a tour and do the tour. I know that's gonna also take time and energy. I have no idea what I'm doing. That terrifies me, the idea of like doing back-to-back shows. Sounds horrible. I'm gonna do it. One of my New Year's resolutions was to like really reclaim my power. Like I'm like, I still feel like things outside of me have power over me. I still feel like people in my life are somehow more powerful than me, that I'm like still trying to get validation from people around me. And I don't think I can step into the next level of who I am as an artist if I feel like there's something outside of me that has more power than I do. Like if I'm consenting to something else having more power than me. So there was that. And then there was also like, I really want to learn to trust myself, because I think like my very religious upbringing teamed with a parent that was like maybe narcissistic, but the idea that like their emotions and experiences were more valid than yours. Like as a kid, it was like children are treated like animals. You do what I say, you obey what I say. And then mix that with this Christianity of like, oh, you can't trust this feeling in your body. It's the devil. Like your intuition, no, that's the devil getting in. Don't do anything that like self-improvement or trusting yourself. Only trust God. Obviously I've deconstructed so much of that, but I realized from a relationship last year that firstly, as soon as I was like in a relationship, I still really centered the other person over me, that I'm like falling into this like caretaking role, or like thinking that somehow their life and what they're doing is more important and more real than what I'm doing. But then also really not trusting myself, right? Like if I'm with somebody and then they're like, oh, this thing I said, I actually only meant this by it. And then I suddenly I'm like, oh, maybe I'm crazy for like thinking they meant this thing. And a lot of it is like, pair that with like living in different countries, being homeschooled, and then like going to college in a new country where you're just like not even, you don't even like know how to really communicate with people in your own country. I mean, obviously I did, but like I learned how to communicate with people from movies, right? Like I'm like, oh, you just follow that. You don't really like, are we connecting? Is this social? I don't know, right? And so like I feel like it left so much room to be manipulated and not trust myself. So this year I was like, I want to get back my power. I want to learn to trust myself, and I need to decenter men from my life. Like I can't. Unfortunately, it's been men in my life that have been the ones that have had this power over me, or I felt like they've had this power over me, whether that's a work thing, a family thing, dating. So I was like, I need to decenter men. I need to not date, because I know that like, I just, it's gonna be like, let's have sex all the time, you know, okay? So I'm like, no, I need to focus. So no drinking. No going out a ton. We're not going to socialize in the spring. We're going to, unless it's like running stuff, we're going to do running stuff. Otherwise, go to bed. We're not going to date. We're not going to entertain guys in any sort of way. And at the beginning of the year, literally guys who used to like slide into my DMs or like any little sneaky links, I was like, no, I'm celibate this year. No, we're done. Stop messaging me. And as soon as I set that boundary, I just felt suddenly like so safe actually to be around guys. Cause I was like, oh yeah, I can hang out. And even if a guy's like expressing something towards me, I'm just like, no, like that's not happening. And it actually makes like my inner self, my inner child suddenly be like, okay, we're safe. Like actually, even if we're around somebody that's like trying something with you, like I know that you're not going to get to a point of suddenly being like, nah, why not? It could be fun. Even though like this person isn't really like safe to be around. So that was my focus goal, everything this first half of the year. Doing the marathon training program and just training for it ended up being so stressful, ended up really exhausting me. There were lots of situations that happened with people in my life at that time where I just started to realize like, I just really started to see this clear pattern of like, oh, there's always a man in my life, starting with my father, where their feelings and what they decide and want are somehow the most important. And I have, in these situations when I'm around them, I feel like I get in trouble for things. The person's mad at me and I have no idea what I've done. And even if they tell me what I've done, I can't even like logically explain it back to them, because it seems like I still don't really understand and nobody around us understands. And like, of course now I'm realizing like, oh, that is like actually narcissistic behavior. And somebody like, what is it? Like digging into your empathy, or like having, a friend said a really good thing that they're like, you're very empathetic, but it seems like there's like a hole in your empathy, or like a boundaryless part of it where people can get in and then make you question yourself, make you like, yeah. So anyways, I also really realized this spring that like, oh, in a way, I'm still prioritizing other people's feelings above my own. And I know it's nuanced. I know it's like we are in community. We need to care about other people equally. But like, no, I realized like I'm actually not keeping myself safe by saying, oh, what other people think is always accurate and I'm the one that needs to change what I think. No, actually, how about what I think matters to me? That's my reality. That's my truth. And so no, we're not going to try to like, also like realizing we're not going to try to reconcile with people who are like hurting you and have no interest in changing. Anyways, so that was a lot of like inner heaviness this spring as well. I was just like really working through like, I realize how much I date when I'm lonely, and like when I want validation, when I'm suddenly just feeling like stuck in my life, and like, I don't know, I spend a lot of time alone. I spend a ton of time alone. I like to be around people. Like I do like to be around people. I do go out like lots, but then I'm kind of the person that like leaves the party first. I get like very overwhelmed. Not even overwhelmed, I just get like my social battery's drained. So especially in the winter, it's dark, it's cold, it's like, and I was like, so many times I was just like, oh, I could just go like hang out in a certain situation or with this guy or something where I know it's gonna be like fun and flirty and we'll go out and do things and it'll be a vibe, and then having to be like, no, stay uncomfortable, stay discomfort, like, or like, you know, go like, a lot of my friends don't live in the UK. I have a ton of friends in the UK, yes, and I obviously spent a lot of time with them. A lot of my close friends are like all over the world. So I was like, being okay with sitting with the discomfort and just being like, this sucks. I feel stuck. I feel like lonely. I feel lame. At least if you can be seen as someone who's like, you're so cool, then you're like, yeah, I'm so cool. Versus like, okay, so that's what it was. Learning to like validate myself, but also like learning to be okay with being uncomfortable and just like discomfort. So meanwhile, while I'm doing that all, I'm messaging so many booking agents. I'm messaging other artists in Canada, trying to set up tour, trying to figure out where to go. What happened was I also just like was like, I'll just like sublet my place. And I had somebody, I'd put everything up because I like didn't know what dates I'd be gone. I was like somewhere in like May or June. Somebody booked for in May for like 2 weeks, and I was like, great. That gives me like, I almost just like need someone to be like, do this date, rather than being like, I don't know, I'll do it sometime this summer. So I was like, okay, these weeks in May. And then my mom was like, oh, I'm gonna be visiting your sister in this city in Canada. And I was like, great. Because she's like, your brother will have driven there with me and he'll be driving home. And I was like, cool. That gives me like a mode of transport for a few shows, and also like, cool, the family's in town. So I was like, book a show in that city. Done. That was my first starting show. Then I was like, book a show in my hometown. Like that gives me, I'm kind of at the point that I was just like literally for months I was like messaging and just getting no responses, or people were like, oh yeah, you can book this place, and then you go through with the booking and they're like, oh yeah, you have to rent it though, like you have to pay up front. And I'm just like, okay. Or they take weeks to get back in between things. It was like very disheartening, very frustrating. And I was just like, you know what, I just need to start getting momentum going, and it can be literally a 10-person venue, whatever. Just like get the capacity rolling, that you're like announcing a show here, because like, you know, the universe like latches onto that energy. When you're like, I am doing shows in Canada, the universe is like, cool, you're doing shows in Canada. Whereas if you're like, I haven't booked any shows, the universe is like, cool, she hasn't booked any shows. So I put together the tour, but like it was at the point that I think a month before I left, I still hadn't gotten a venue for Vancouver, and I really wanted to get a venue. And like, I'd just been trying to get different venues that weren't responding and all this stuff, or they would, once again, yeah, they would. I'd be like, hey, I got the venue. And then they'd be like, oh, this is a rental fee, or like change something else, or then it takes too long to respond and be like, actually, we can't do that weekend. So finally I found a venue a month before getting to Vancouver. I was also running a marathon, feeling very burnt out, very tired. And just felt like I didn't have like the right promo stuff for it. I was also like trying to figure out like, okay, I'd applied for grants and stuff to help out, but a lot of those don't come in till after. And I was like, okay, I've got to fund all my travel. I need to get merch. I need to like, you know, there's like some things that I'm like, this is like essential to make the tour happen. But then it was also like, okay, cool. Now I need to like advertise the tour. How do I do that? Like, first of all, working with my limited energy of like time and just like, yeah, limited energy. So kind of started promoting it, ran some ads for it, tried to share it around. Ran the marathon. Marathon weekend was like a whole other, it was really special, honestly. I told myself like, it's not going to be about the marathon itself. It's going to be about the whole weekend. I had so many friends from New York in town and just from all over. It felt really special. Like I always think, if I'm lying on my deathbed, looking back at an event, am I going to be like lying there like remembering like, oh, I remember when it was really tough at the marathon and then I pushed through. I'm so proud of myself, and then I won. Like, maybe, I don't know. That seems so lame. Whereas like, I'll be like, oh, I remember like the friend coming to visit and me showing him around, and like seeing my other friend, I hadn't seen her in so long. And like I always think like deathbed perspective, what is gonna matter? Okay, that's what I'm gonna be caring about on my deathbed. Like, cool, sounds like a successful weekend, sounds like a successful marathon. But did that, was exhausted. It was really special. And then 2 weeks later left to Canada. So I am not a tech girly. I decided as well, I was like, I can't afford to have a band. I'm gonna do it myself. I grew up playing piano. I'm good with piano. I have been teaching myself guitar. I don't know how good I am on guitar. And then other songs for my new album, I had like tracks that was playing through my computer. So I had a friend, Lisa, help me set up Ableton, which is like essentially running the tracks through my computer while I also play the keyboard and use that coming through my computer. This keyboard is a MIDI keyboard, meaning it doesn't play sound on its own. It has to go through a device, right? My computer. So she helped me with that. I had done like different stuff in Ableton before, so I felt more comfortable. Like, okay, I can make this work. The first night, I show up to the venue to start setting up sound check, and at one point, and it's like they're so lovely. I've played there before; they're amazing. But the guy just was like, "Oh, I'm not getting any sound out," and just like immediately, I was just like, panic, full mode. Like I was like, "Oh my god! Like I don't know how to fix this. I don't have like any band members or anyone who like knows tech with me who can be like, here's what you got to do." And I just like also realize there's like probably like I've grown up with like stereotypes of like, oh, women can't do anything, like women like suck at things that like and so then especially like in music or anything that is like male dominated, such as like music production, the second that I am like, I'm just like instantly aware, or like, or I feel this feeling of like, oh my god, they're just gonna think I'm like some dumb singer who has no idea how to run this. Not that I even need to know how to run that stuff. Like, why do I have to also like know all the production side of things? Actually, can you sing? Can you produce? Or can you like songwrite? Like, no. So why are you comparing me to your job? Not saying that they are, but that's like, that is like this instant thing that I feel of just like, oh, I'm this like dumb singer songwriter who has no idea how to like work anything. And obviously I don't believe that. I tell other women the same shit all the time when they're like, I'm not gonna be a good instrumentalist. I'm like, there is some dude who sucks, who believes in himself, who's getting more opportunities than you do because you're so stressed about having to like explain yourself and like perfect everything, because we're used to being like criticized a certain way. So that first night, he gladly was like, oh, showed me, here's what you gotta do with the output, so now I can get a signal, whatever. And I was like, okay. But it was just like this, like, I've never had to like set up the full stage by myself. I've always had like at least a friend there who's like in music, who's like helped me do stuff. I go to perform. Performance went well, but like I'm just like really getting used to like, okay, knowing sometimes if you can't hear your own voice, knowing how it feels, that you're not straining, all of this stuff, right? And I watched back the videos from those performances, and like it felt like there was just this energetic layer between me and the audience where I was just like, yeah, maybe moving around, performing things, but I just felt like I was like contain myself. And was like, what was cool about the tour is that I was like, cool, rather than watching that and like feeling critical of myself, I can watch it and be like, cool, we're gonna change that, like practice that a few nights from now. But the whole tour, I was kind of like, I would kind of have a script of stuff I would say in between songs because I'm trying to tell the story of the album. There were certain songs I wanted to rehearse, and it just felt like so, like I was in between shows trying to promote the next show, trying to arrange things with the opening act, having to rent equipment for certain spots. So it felt like, in a way, I was just like producing the whole tour, but didn't actually get to like be the artist of just like, I'm gonna have vocal rest today, and then rehearse my song, and work on this, and then like go to this. Also, there's like a chunk of my hair sticking out. I'm not liking this. I need to shave my head again. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna grow it out for a bit and then shave it. So then I go to my next venue. There was a lot, like the first few things were like around family, which it was really nice to see my mom. My mom's so cool. I love my mom. My siblings really helped me out. There was a lot that was really special, but there's also like people in my family that every time I'm around, it just feels horrible to be around. But it's also normal. Like, it was just like, oh, that's just what it's like to be around this person. I've known that my whole life. I don't really know anything else. That's just like how this person is. And this last time I was home in November, I felt so uncomfortable. I felt like, I think because I've gotten so safe in myself and started to like really take care of myself and love myself and treat myself how I deserve to be treated, the stark contrast of then like going back and being around a specific person and just being like, my body, everything is just like, I'm terrified. Like, oh yeah, this is the root of where my terror began. This is the root of where I allow people to treat me a certain way because I think it's normal, because that's how you treated me, right? And I really noticed it last year. So I set way more boundaries this time about being home, of like, I'm not really gonna spend a lot of time with this person, or like I'll go to their place for dinner, whatever. I'm not gonna like ask them for any favors, ask them to drive me anywhere. And like, even then, like I asked for like one time to like borrow something for a show, and I instantly regretted it. I was like, I wish I just paid and rented this rather than interacting with this person, because it feels so shitty. And then just had like a lot of internal stuff being home and being like, I think my whole thing of like taking back my power this year, like not giving out to other people, so I need to trust myself, was suddenly like, oh, well, if I trust myself, if I trust my body, guess what? My body fucking hates being around you. My body feels terrified. My body doesn't feel like, no part of me enjoys your company. No part of me enjoys being around you. No part of me enjoys how you talk about other people, how you talk about me, how you like, yeah. And so actually by trusting myself, I'm just realizing like, you're kind of a horrible like person. I don't want to be around you. So that's all going on while I'm doing tour stuff. It was also though really special to be home. I have like a ton of siblings. I'm really close with my stepdad and just like friends, like it was just like also really beautiful. Damn, I feel like I'm like in like a Dr. Seuss thing. So then went down to Vancouver, Victoria, did shows there. My little sister came with me. Oh, she just moved back from Australia and she's like going back into, she's doing like healthcare and nursing, but she like arrived back this like a few days before me. And I was like, can you, if I like get your tickets, can you come for like 2 weeks with me, travel around and like tour, and we can, and just like help me with merch, with everything. And she was like, yeah. And like, she was my saving grace. I don't know how I would have done that without her. That would have been horrible. And she just helped me, like, we had to lug like all my instruments and everything to the airport. I don't enjoy this part at all about being a musician. And she was like, ugh, literally saved. I don't know. I honestly don't know what I would have done without her. So no. So that was amazing. I played in a lot of new cities, met a lot of new family. Honestly, that was really special too, that I'd have people be like, oh, I'm your like mom's uncle's cousin, you can stay with us. And I'd be like, great. So we only had to like get one hotel the whole time, which was, and like just friends of friends let us stay with them. It was really nice. But every single night, like every single time I had to do a show, or even the days that I didn't have a show but we were traveling, it was just like I felt like my nervous system was just like on like highest alert. It was just like and then I'd get ready to do the show. As an artist, there's just so much about performing live that like I just learned so much. Like sometimes just the way the sound system is set up, certain microphones, like I'm hearing myself differently, and then that's making me sing differently. So then I got to learn how to like adjust that within myself of like, oh, maybe you can't really hear your voice over this, but like, how does it feel to sing? Can you feel when you're pushing, when you're not pushing, when you're whatever, getting comfortable in front of people? It was good practice. It's very good practice. If the Illuminati was real and I had been like summoned by it, I do feel like this would have been like the humiliation ritual that I'm posting on TikTok, you know? But that being said, I think that is also like me centering myself in the whole situation, which, I mean, we have to do that, but also there is like a great like zoom out and be like, you know, at every show, there are people who have never heard my music before who showed up, who were just like, we found you and we came. There might have only been like 15 people at the show, but like there were always new people. And that I was like, this is cool. I rate that. And I have to remember, it's so easy, I think, as an artist to like have your ego get involved of like, oh no, this didn't go well, or the crowd wasn't responding this way or this way. And I think as an artist, like, who am I to determine how my art lands? I know how it affects me and how it heals me and how that feels. But I've been at shows where an artist maybe has 5 people in the audience, and I actually really remember this after, right when my best friend was like diagnosed with cancer. I remember just feeling like my whole world had just like fallen apart, which is not the first time this whole world has been like, oh, everything you know, take it apart. And it felt like that again. This was in 2017. And I remember I would just go to like random shows or events or anything and just would feel like, I don't know if I was like hungry for connection or just like nurturing or anything, but I just remember things just feeling so healing and so special. And then maybe going up to the artist after and being like, thank you so much, that was amazing. And they'd be like, oh, I hope the sound wasn't too bad. I hope I did, like the things that we do as artists, like, oh, I kind of messed up on here, my bad. And I was just like, bitch, what? I'm trying to like not be sad about my friend dying and you made me not sad. Or like you actually helped me feel into the sadness, I don't know. But like, I don't really care about if you messed up or sang the wrong note, or like, yeah, or if like I was one of 5 people. So I keep trying to remember that perspective as well. Like, let's be grateful for the people who did come. But it was a lot. And I finished, and the last day, the last day I was in Toronto with my sister. I think I was so sleep deprived. I was so like, and just was having to deal with a bunch of random shit, just other shit in life of people messaging about like, this thing's going wrong, this thing, you also have to deal with this, that was like not even music related. And I just literally was like, I'm done. I can't fathom having to do this all again. I feel like I just put in so much effort for so little result and reward, and I can't keep doing that again. The idea of doing this again feels horrible. I'm just fucking exhausted. I feel so unsupported. Why can't I, like, I've never had a team around me, and I also like felt on tour that I was like, I feel like everyone who works with me is like only if I pay them. Like I feel like I've always been like hustling so hard just to get money to pay the people to help with music things, like to produce the stuff, to do the stuff, which I get you need to pay certain, like people, obviously, like we all need money. But also I'm just like, you know, you hear the stories of someone that's like, oh, this manager met me and believed in me so much, and like I slept on their couch and like they helped introduce me to this, or like this person found me and they loved my sound so much and they helped produce me and helped do this. I feel like I've never had that. Like I've never really known if people actually like fuck with me. I mean, sometimes I feel like, okay, they feel like a good person to work with, but I've never had people just want to be like, I believe in you so much, I want to do this for free. It's like, oh, I really believe in your stuff, I think I can help you, here's how much it cost. And I just like, that made me feel so sad on this tour actually. And maybe it's not even like about the money, but it just felt like, I don't know, like, damn, why do I have to pay people to believe in me? So, and just like, I felt just like so unsupported, which once again isn't like anyone's fault, right? It's not like no one's supporting me, because that's actually not true. Like so many people pulled together to help me make this possible. Like I was so supported, and yet it's just like, it's, I guess, the reality of being producing your own tour and doing it yourself, that it's just like so much more support is needed to like really have it go well. And so in my head I was like, if I have to do this all again with no support, I can't fathom that. And I also was like, let's not fathom that right now. But all that to say, I was gonna be in Toronto and like the day after the last show make like a whole like tour catch up, and then I was like, I'm not talking to anyone or anything, and I might jump off a building. Gladly I got sleep after crying in bed, and then the next day I was like, okay, I don't feel as inclined to jump off a building today. So like, I really need to remind myself that like, when life is really, really bad, get sleep, which obviously sucks if people can't sleep, like, or if they're like, can't even fall asleep. Gladly I could fall asleep. So then I went to New York, saw friends there. Honestly, that was a vibe. That was really nice. But like, that's the thing, like you go from Canada to New York, and it just feels like literally I got to New York and like kind of forgot everything that's just happened in Canada, because it's like such a different reality. Like, you know, when you go to a movie theater, watch a movie, you're so immersed in that world, and then you walk out and you're suddenly like, I'm on Earth in this reality. Like you have to like adjust back to your own reality again. You're like I wasn't real. What? That wasn't my mom. I wasn't in a spaceship. What? You have to like readjust to your own reality. And that's how I feel going between countries generally. So I like got to New York, felt amazing, didn't really process anything. Got to Nashville to see my friend, and in Nashville I was like, I am just gonna like sleep and gain 5 pounds. Like that is my goal, to like eat a lot of food, feel super nourished and full and just like safe, and sleep, just literally sleep, lie down, rest, like just let your body, because the past 6 months have been fucking crazy. I did that. It was lovely. I could have stayed there even longer in Nashville. Then I came back to London, landed in London, and was like, I've missed it here. I love London. So I actually first visited London in 2019, right after my best friend died. I was living in New York. She's originally from Berlin, or from Germany. She lived in Berlin. And then we met in Boston. And a lot of her cancer treatment was in Boston, so we'd still see each other stateside. And she died in February of 2019. And a few months later, like her parents were like, we gotta pack up her apartment and her stuff in Berlin. And her mom was like, can you come with us and help us? And I was like, yeah. And so I was like still working at this like cafe in New York, and so it was like essentially like, okay, I need to like keep costs low. And also though, it was my birthday. I was about to turn 25. And it was just so heavy. Like literally that January, I'd been talking with her in the hospital, and she, like, we just kind of, I felt like understood that she was dying. But like, I was like, okay, maybe you are dying, but at least we'll get you to 25, okay? At least we're gonna have our 25th birthdays together. And then like, she just went like so rapidly downhill and like died in February. And it felt, yeah, it felt so shitty to turn 25 and do it alone. So that being said, I keep thinking, I'm always like, it happened so long ago and I processed it. And lately I've been like, no, you haven't. No, you have not gone fucking near processing it. Not that, I don't know, maybe we do just cry our whole lives over sad things. But like, I don't know, sometimes I just find that I like can't even talk about it. But that being said, I was like, I hate New York. I don't want to be in New York. I also don't want to be in Canada. I don't really know where I want to be. I don't know where home is. I don't know. I've never felt like I belong anywhere. I've never felt happy anywhere. Or I have, but for short bursts of time. So was like, I'm going to go to Berlin, help her parents pack up her apartment. And that weekend that I would be flying back was my birthday. And I was like, I don't want to just be like in an airport on my birthday crying. And I had a friend in London. Flights were way cheaper to go from New York to London and then to take like a Ryanair flight over to like Germany. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna fly through London on the way there. On the way back, I'm gonna spend a few nights in London and visit my friends, stay with my friend, have my birthday, at least do something nice for myself. So I came to London, and I remember so many, like taking the train from Heathrow, and I just remember like these like kids chatting on it, maybe like teenagers, these guys. And I just remember sitting there like listening to their accents and just thinking like, this country's so cool. And I remember at the airport, this also teenager was like saying to his dad something like, oh, that's a little cheeky. And I was like, they say cheeky over here. I don't know. I was just like, what is this country? And I just remember like everything I did with my friends, just everything felt so cool here, clean, beautiful. It felt like New York, but like in a movie. Like, oh, New York is what you see on the movies, and you get there and you're like, oh, this is kind of like sketch. Obviously I love it there still, but you're like, rose-tinted glasses are off when you arrive and live there long enough. And here I felt like, oh, I feel like I'm like trying to make sure I'm not having rose-tinted glasses on because it seems so vibey and beautiful. So when I landed back in London this time, and this happens like every now and then, you know, I'm gone for a while and I get back to London, and then if I land at the like Heathrow or Gatwick, I'll be taking the train, and it just always brings me back to that moment in 2019 of like first being here and being like, I want to move here one day. This feels so good. And I was like, I made the right choice. So then, what else? A lot's happened since then. A lot has happened. And I also like planned this year up for the first half of the year, and then was like, I'll figure out the second year after, or the second part of the year after tour. I feel like big things are happening, and I don't really know how they're happening. Part of me is like still really scared that I'm just like doing the same thing I've done and not seeing the same, like, any results. Like, oh, just working, but like, is it actually doing anything or like going anywhere? And a lot of times I know there's this whole idea of like, oh, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Actually, no, that is how a lot of people have gotten their results, that they just keep doing the same thing over and over, and eventually it sticks and it works. And you see that with a lot of artists, like they just keep doing, yeah, maybe they change a few things, but like they generally just keep doing the same thing and get so locked in that suddenly they believe so deeply in themselves that the rest of the world is forced to believe in them as well. And so anyways, fuck that quote. But what was I gonna say? Oh, so yeah, I feel like that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm like, I feel like there's so much shit I should be doing for my career, for my life. And then it's like, okay, that all seems overwhelming. So what can I do? What little things can I do? But then Also, a lot of it just feels like it's not enough, and having to be like, no, it is enough. It is good. Yeah. So I got back. Within the first day of getting back, first 2 days of getting back, the person that was talking about like being back home and just like that person always felt bad to be around, I ended up finally cutting them off, just saying like, I no longer want a relationship with you. And that has felt so freeing and so good. And not even like, I think it's been building up for years, and finally the second I said I no longer want a relationship with you, I felt like the kid version of me was suddenly like, okay, I'm safe. I'm actually really safe. Like, okay, great. I've been waiting for someone to protect me my whole life, and now you just protected me by like standing up for that person. Which, yeah, it felt really special. And I noticed that like, there's been so many beliefs in my life and things that I've been like, oh, I know this was like, it's just something I grew up with. So like trying to like get to the root of it and like deconstruct it, because like I don't actually believe in that. Like, why am I so convinced of this idea that like something's only valid if I struggle for it? Like, that's not actually true. And why, when good things come, unless I can prove that I've struggled, I somehow don't think they're legit. And I've been trying to get to the root of that. And literally, as soon as I wrote that letter and said like, you're no longer going to be in my life, so many of those things just kind of just like melted away. Like, even now when I think of certain things, I'm just like, that's not true. Like, no part of my body believes that's true when I say like, I think it's like, it's foolish. And it's not foolish. I just see like the fear behind it, and that somebody else grew up and convinced themselves that that is what's necessary, or like bought into that programming. And I've known it's not true, but now like I feel it's not true. Like I absolutely know it's not true. So yeah. So that was tour. It is interesting though, because like when people are like, how is your tour? And like with anything, obviously I want to like, oh yeah, it was good. Like, first of all, saying something is good, I feel like is just like a generic, like move the conversation along politely. So I was like, I have been saying it's good. And I've also just been like, trying to be honest with people. Like, oh, honestly, it was like, fucking sucked. No, it didn't fucking suck. But it was like, I felt terrified most of it. And I felt like I like slipped into this version of myself that was just like panicked all the time and like not cool. Like majority of life now, I'm like, I'm so cool. Or I just feel like I'm just like, I don't give a fuck what y'all think, because like you're gonna be dead one day and I'm gonna be dead one day, and like we're all gonna be dead. Like, who cares? And generally I just feel so good in myself that like, and like know who I am and know what I believe and know why I believe it. And like, I feel like I could be in a lot of situations and people are just like, you're so cool. And I'm like, yeah, I am cool. Like, I agree. You're cool too. But like, yeah, I agree that I'm cool. And like on tour, I felt like I was homeschooled again on a farm and like had no friends and was very uncool. Oh, but we did it. I wrote a list of like things I'm proud of myself for, to remind myself. And I'm proud of myself for doing my first tour. I'm proud of myself for taking back my power and prioritizing my peace. I'm proud of myself for following my intuition. There's a whole other bunch of lore. Okay, I am like about to meet my soulmate husband. I feel like this summer. There was this thing on like Overheard New York where someone was like, oh, I like see myself like moving into my boyfriend's place in like 6 months. And the person was like, I didn't know you had a boyfriend. And they're like, oh, I don't. I just like really feel that for myself. I've been feeling that for like a year. But I'm like, this summer or this fall, like it's coming up. And also I'm at the point where like I don't really care. Like, not that I don't care. I think it would be great to have someone to have consistent sex with. And like, and be safe with, and like grow with together. But I also like, if somebody told me now you're never gonna have like a boyfriend, a partner, or a romantic partner, I'd be like, okay, I'll have sex with people. Like, but like but meaning like I've like really built up myself, my community, my friends to be like, that is my thing. I don't need like one person to be my all in the world, right? So I'd be like, okay, that's fine. I have a vibrator. We're okay. However, I think there's like something so special about growing with someone in a relationship and like having someone like witness all those parts of you. And I've like, I don't know if I've intentionally like avoided that. I'm sure I've had like a lot of like avoidant tendencies with things, but also I think just how life has played out, that was like not meant to happen for me in my 20s. And now I feel like it's gonna happen, and I think it's gonna actually like I'm good on my own, but also I'm like, I think there's something like gonna be so special and magical about this connection. I feel like magical is the wrong word to use. I say a lot of things are magical, but like I don't want it to be like oh, it's lusty love, we're so honeymoony, but like I actually mean like sorcery magical. Like I feel like when you get your energy reflected back to you in a certain way, it can like ignite it, charge it up, like two mirrors like looking back at each other. So yeah, essentially I'll be offering psychic services soon. No, I'm kidding. But one of the things I wrote on my proud of you list is like, I'm proud of you for like clearing the way to meet your soulmate, because I've just known it's coming. And I've also just been like, already this year had been like, nope, no dating, no talking to anyone, not interested. And then like after marathon, I was like, okay, we can change it up for a bit. But like all the little hookups, my roster, I've just been like deleting people from it, blocking people. Meh. Like even if I'm like, oh, that would be a fun night, I'm also like, nah, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to other women by like okay, in my head, here's what I'm thinking. If you meet me and you see me and you're like, damn, you're fucking crazy, you must be not like, damn, you're fucking amazing is what I mean. But then all you want to do is sleep with me. Then I'm like, you're kind of dumb. Like imagine like, I don't know, imagine like seeing the most like divine, godlike thing on earth. And then you're like, oh, let me masturbate here. I don't know. Or like, okay, you know what it's like? Imagine going to this like beautiful restaurant that has the most incredible food. And then you're just sitting outside and you're like, I'm just gonna have a protein bar actually. I'm good with the protein bar. But like, I like the aesthetic here, so I'm gonna sit in here if I'm gonna like eat a protein bar. And maybe they're convinced like, I just love my protein bar so much. Okay, cool. Maybe this restaurant isn't for you. Maybe you actually don't get to enjoy the aesthetic of it. But essentially, I'm just like, that is how I feel. Even when I'm like, oh, I'm not interested in dating anyone, but like, yeah, let's have sex or like hook up or something. I'm just like at the point that I'm like, but that means he's the kind of person that goes to this like beautiful restaurant and then it's just like, oh, I'll just settle for a protein bar, which now that means that you have bad taste. And like, that kind of gives me the ick. Like, really? Like, you have this like majestic thing in front of you and then you're like, let me just like put my penis in it. Now I just think you're stupid, and now I'm not getting wet, so like, I don't know. So yeah, it's not really working. So that's, yeah, either way, what was the point of that? Oh, so I feel like I'm doing a disservice to women by, even when I've had like a fun hookup, whatever, it's easy, it's whatever, by like letting them see who I am and know who I am, and then just, I don't know if treat me poorly is a word, because it's not really that, but it's just like the fact that the only thing they want to do is have sex with me. I'm like, it's like allowing like dumb men to thrive. I don't know. I feel like I don't quite have the right words to say this, but I'll work on it. Okay, this is a real long form vlog. I was gonna like edit this and like make it like Reels, Instagram style and this, but like absolutely not. I wonder if I can put captions on though, for any deaf people or people like me who can't hear unless they see the words on the screen when they're being spoken. Anyways, I was gonna like have this whole series of like how to do tour as an artist, how to do this, how to do this, how to do this. And that's one of those things that I'm just like, I don't know. I'm already like releasing a lot of stuff, editing stuff, posting stuff on social media, running out of time to do things. But I was like, maybe I just talk. Because also I think there's so much like humanity missing from people talking about their experience with art. Like, yeah, you can be like, here's what I did to be like a top selling artist, this and this, but like, what's the inner alchemy going on? And also, like, I think it's so easy to look at someone's timeline and compare yourself to their timeline and not understand. It's easy to look at something and say like, oh, that's what success looks like. And it's like, oh, is it? Because like all their big successes, they were being exploited. They were making a ton of money, but then having to pay this, or like they've now built up a lifestyle that they can't maintain, or like they have no access to their fans, or they, whatever that is. Like, actually underneath the surface, a lot of that success looks quite different. And then the flip side, you have people that like maybe wouldn't be labeled as like successful, but when you look at how their life is running, you're like, oh, you're killing it. Like, this is success. You are thriving. So yeah, anyways, a little unfiltered, and I'm gonna try to keep vlogging updates on my life. I don't know, worst case for myself, like a digital diary of like how many tattoos I have and the current thoughts that are going through my brain. Yeah, anyways, I'm excited to see my destiny come true. Okay, I need to go back to work. This has been a long time. Okay, bye guys.